Undoubtedly, the biggest disaster in Mainely Burgers' short history was the Mumford & Sons concert in the August of 2012, our first summer in business. We had this grandiose plan: expand our menu, including the introduction of hand-cut fries, and to serve 1,000 guests. There were 5 of us on the truck that day, hungry to serve the 15,000 plus people on the Eastern Prom. We should also mention we had abandoned our Scarborough Beach posts on one of the busiest days of the year, leaving only the concession stand open, run by an untrained new employee.
Back to Mumford. We had run out of our hand-cut fries in 30 minutes, and we still had 8 hours to go.
We were screwed. And the line, oh my goodness, the line. It was like being on the ocean, searching for land on the horizon and just never seeing it. About halfway through the concert, we had an unexpected grease fire. There were 40 orders up and another 300 people in line.
I was on the griddle when it happened. I froze like a deer in the headlights. Eventually, I grabbed the fire extinguisher, squeezed the trigger, nothing. I had never used a fire extinguisher before. How am I supposed to know how it works? Max finally yelled,
"Pull the pin! Pull the pin!"
The fire was out. We clean, washed, sanitized everything, and changed our fry oil.
All the while, I was talking with guests, attempting to draw their eye away from an engulfing flame. The day ended with just as much awfulness as it began. We ran out of food, with 200 people left in line. I had to go outside. I had to explain that we were closing and go outside to retrieve the menu. I actually considered asking for a police escort. To put things mildly, it was a cluster cuss.
We didn't come close to reaching our goal. Even the concert organizer was surprised with how poorly we did. On top of that, the Scarborough Beach management team was justifiably upset that we missed the busiest day of the year. The next morning, our parents excitedly asked us how the event went. Max and I were like, it didn't go great. Our mom, in an attempt to add levity to the situation, said, well, at least you didn't have a fire.
It was one of many business mess-ups. We had failed.
The idea of Mainely Burgers started when I was a freshman at Babson College. It started as an escape. I was unhappy. In a nutshell, I was homesick. I missed my parents, family, friends, and most of all, Cape Elizabeth. For a fun diversion, I would meet one of my closest friends, Ben Berman, at food trucks around the city. We would talk about school and reminisce about the good old days in Cape. We began to talk about our summer plans and what we were going to do. We wanted to go home for the summer, but we still were trying to figure out what would that be. I mentioned to my parents that there was an opportunity for food trucks in Maine, and that Ben and I had an interest in opening one. My dad suggested that we write a business plan and that we could talk about it in further detail. I stayed focused on my BC studies, and in my spare time, thought about this food truck idea. What would be on our menu? What would our name be? How do we even run a business? Thought soon became action, and we had formed a corporation, designed our truck, and secured a location at Scarborough Beach.
My story's a little bit different than Jack. My freshman and sophomore year, I went to Gould Academy in Bethel, Maine. At Gould, I was Max. For the first time, I wasn't the younger cousin or brother of a barber that had gone through the Cape system. I went to Gould with a focus on skiing in college. After an assortment of injuries, I realized that the school wasn't the right recipe. It was an amazing experience in so many ways. In addition to being on snow every day during the ski season, I had the opportunity to do a homestay in China and meet friends from all over the world. I suffered from 2 concussions, which dashed my dreams at becoming a Division I skier. I miss my friends, I miss my family, and my parents miss me. It was around this time that I figured out about Ben and Jack's incredible idea. I've been involved in conversations about the business plan and menu and food and so on. It was fun. My brother and his friend were going to start a food truck, and I was ready to hop on board. Sure enough, my first few days home for the summer, a food truck from Florida showed up in our backyard in Cape Elizabeth. Jack and Ben were still at school. Sam Berman, you and I were the only ones there. It was at that moment, seeing Mainely Burgers in our house at Cape Elizabeth, that I realized that coming home was a great decision.
Let's talk about the trucks. Although we had some business and a little cooking experience, it's safe to say we had thrown ourselves into the fire. As Max can attest, our first day at Scarborough Beach was a mess. It was a nonstop grind, but at the end of the day, we had come out on top.
I was eager to get to work, but I had to be patient. I learned how Jack and Ben managed employees in the business, understanding which methods were most successful. Like most new employees, I started on the register, understanding the importance of flexibility and customer service from the get-go. To quote DJ Khaled, it was a major key to success.
We the best.
At the end of the summer, the Mainely Burgers crew was excited to announce that we would be returning for year 2. With that awesome momentum from year 1 and the passing of the Portland Food Truck Ordinance, we decided to expand our fleet. We added a second burger truck, named her 2.0, and hastily, in the middle of the summer, we added an ice cream truck called Mainely Treats. Our team also expanded from 6 the year before to 15.
We were giving our team more input into the business, but we were still doing too much. With so many moving pieces, we lost sight of some of the most important parts of the business. Most importantly, cash. We were prepping for the 4th of July. We had all 3 trucks rolling out. It was going to be a huge day. I had gone to the bank to get change, and imagine my surprise when the bank teller told me we had no money to withdraw. In fact, we were overdrawn. We had spread ourselves too thin, and our business had suffered. Luckily, we found some change for the 4th, and ended up having a pretty good day. At the end of year 2, we had expanded greatly, but we were losing money.
On to year 3.
At the end of the year, Ben received word that he was going to get the internship that he really wanted. I could not have been more happy for Ben, but I realized that the business was going to face a strategic challenge in replacing him. Luckily, Max was waiting in the wings, ready to take on more of a leadership role.
We were both at Babson. I was a freshman, Jack a junior, and guess what? We pivoted again. This time, we focused 2.0 in Mainly Treats on private catering and community events. The beach was doing well, and we had built a strong presence. All of a sudden, our calendar was full. Jack and I put together an amazing team, and we hummed, becoming the best customer service-oriented food truck in Maine. We were giving our employees more management opportunities in operations and social media. I would quickly learn the ropes and understood how much my role had changed, the work hours too. Come year 4, we hit on all cylinders. As brothers and now business partners, we quickly found our groove. The business was clicking, and this gave us more time to play around with food, our favorite thing.
At the beginning of our 5th year, I was graduating from Babson College and trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. Sports and finance were at the top of my list, and Mainly Burgers wasn't even really on it. My career pivot happened when a financial professional interviewing me out of the blue said, "If you have any thoughts about expanding your business, you better do it now, because at my age, you certainly won't have the time for it." This made me think and take a step back, and after discussing with Max and my parents, we decided to go forward. We were expanding Mainly Burgers.
With Mainly Burgers becoming more real, we had to make some serious changes. The first was rebranding. We designed a new website and built a new logo. The Portland operation also experienced significant change. With Jack staying in Boston to open the restaurant, for the first time, I was solely responsible for running the trucks. It was overwhelming and frustrating at first. It didn't come easy, but in the end, through the help of a close friend and a strong crew, many of whom I see in this crowd, Mainly Burgers had another successful season.
Without Max taking over sole duty of the trucks, we would have never been able to open the restaurant. It was a whole new animal, relying on family, trusted advisors, and a great building and design team. We got the restaurant open in August, right on time. Hiring in Cambridge was also completely different. No longer was this a seasonal business. We couldn't rely on high school and college students anymore. We formed a core team, found great people that have made our storefront a success. Never did I think that middle and high school Spanish could be so important. It's the primary language we speak in the back of house in Cambridge. It has brought us together in so many ways and has made a huge difference. So, gracias, profesores.
A large component of our Babson education focuses on entrepreneurship. Whether you're building a business from scratch or developing your people to think and act with entrepreneurial spirit, the idea is to think on your feet when you need to.
Like when you get a flat tire 10 minutes before an event.
Or to take the time to do detailed menu analysis.
How much does that ice cream sandwich cost us to make?
We are very lucky to come from a family that loves food, and one that has food businesses on both our mom and dad's side. We joke around and say that we share the food gene. Their work ethic and challenges they had to deal with, we saw firsthand.
Since the beginning, Mainely Burgers has employed over 60 people, mostly Cape kids. We couldn't be more proud of what our team's been able to accomplish. Max and I talk a lot about family, literally and figuratively. We wouldn't be here today without both.
And what we do isn't glamorous. It's a ton of work, and it's definitely not the direction we saw ourselves going in. But we love what we do. Here's this little company in Maine, and now Cambridge, that the Boston Globe quoted being good enough to take on competition. Imagine that.
We believe what differentiates us are our core values, our strong sense of community, and the dynamic people that make up our team. Mainely Burgers allows us to bring people together in more ways than just burgers and fries.
Community events in Portland and Cambridge have allowed us to build a much stronger, more meaningful business than one that focuses on numbers. Look, we don't know what lies ahead, but here's what we've learned. 1, life is rarely a straight road. Learn to pivot, hopefully before change becomes necessary. 2, social good, giving back. Doing good for others is a gift. And finally, 3, to top off the sandwich, you have to work hard in order to play hard. On behalf of Jack and I would like to thank you for this opportunity, and we'll see you all this summer. That's not big guy.